Hello, my name is Emily Soto, and today I will be talking about the beautiful country of Italy and the history of pizza. Today I will be talking about the history of Italy, Italy's geography and climate, the history of pizza, a legend, and where pizza is today. So, some history of Italy. Italy was home to many different ancient civilizations, like the Etruscans in central Italy, Greeks in the south, and Romans becoming one of the most powerful in history. The Roman Empire ruled for more than 400 years, with leaders like Augustus and Julius Caesar. City-states then began around the 12th century after the fall of the Roman Empire. These city-states and kingdoms then became a unified nation in 1861 after being controlled by powers like France, Austria, and Spain. Italy fell into a political instability after World War I. After aligning with the Nazis in World War II, Benito Mussolini developed a fascist dictatorship. Italy then became a republic in 1946. I chose Italy because I've always had a fascination with this country. I don't know too much about my heritage, but I do know that my grandfather's side of the family is from Sicily. So any opportunity that I get to learn about this country, I take it. And especially with such a known thing like pizza, I think it is such a staple in my life, in many of our lives, and I really think it brings people together, especially during events like parties and um, very special times. So I would like to learn about it. So, some geography and climate of Italy. In northern Italy, it has a mostly continental climate, which means that there is a lot of big temperature changes. Especially in the Alpines, there's usually cold and snowy winters. In places like Milan can even have a warmer and humid summer. Some agriculture that is known here is corn and even rice cultivation. In central Italy, it's a mixture of both continental and Mediterranean. They have mostly mild winters and ideal weather, like in Rome, so it's good for tourism. Some things that are known here are cattle farming, specifically the Chianina, and dairy production. In southern Italy and its islands, they have a Mediterranean climate. This means that they have really hot summers. It can exceed more than 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and even mild winters, approximately 56 degrees Fahrenheit. This region is known for its citrus fruits, wine production, and tomatoes, specifically the San Marzano tomatoes that are known for their sweet and low acidity flavor. So I want to point out that Mount Vesuvius is close to the city Naples. Mount Vesuvius has had an influence on southern Italy for about 2,000 years, starting with the eruption that buried Pompeii. It preserved the agriculture and food practices of the Romans. Throughout the years, with more volcanic eruptions, the soil continued to give fresh ingredients to this area. It has also allowed for rich and mineral-rich soil for these specific tomatoes and the citrus fruits. So, some history of pizza. Pizza has had a rich and interesting story. In its early history, Greeks and Romans would eat flatbread similar to focaccia bread now, but what set Italians apart was the tomatoes. So tomatoes were originally in South America, where the Aztecs ate them, And after being conquered, the Spanish brought them to this part of Italy where when they were still under rule. Europeans thought that originally that tomatoes were poisonous because they resembled nightshade plants, which were deadly. But after experimenting, they found that these are super easy and delicious ingredients for their food. Greeks were also influenced for their food culture a lot, especially in bread making as well as cheese making and the use of herbs. The Etruscans also introduced olive oil. In the 18th century, Naples was a bustling city with poor laborers and a large working class. Some examples of these jobs were like street vendors, artisans, port laborers. And these workers really just needed cheap and easy meals to keep them going throughout the day. So, what street vendors and small bakeries would make usually is like a calzone version of the pizza. So, it's like more of an easy on the go meal. Naples was a port city as well, so they were able to have easy access to a lot of these ingredients like oil and cheese. And since tomatoes were usually grown here, it helped them to form these recipes. So, a fun legend about margherita pizza. Margherita pizza was said to be invented in 1889. So, after King Umberto I and Queen Margherita of Savoy visited Naples, these two were just bored of their French diets, and it was a very steady diet, so they wanted something new. They visited Pizzeria Brandy with the baker, Raphael Esposito. Queen Margherita asked this baker to make her an assortment of pies. He made about 3, and one of them being made with mozzarella cheese, red tomatoes, and basil leaves. She really enjoyed this one. This was her favorite, so this pizza was eventually named after her. And I think it's also a coincidence that the ingredients on this pizza were the color of the Italian flag. And even at this bakery, there is still a plaque up remembering this day. So, modern day pizza. Pizza was spread through America through immigration in the late 19th and 20th century. When American soldiers were stationed in World War II in Italy, they were able to try this authentic Neapolitan pizza, and they were able to bring the craze back to America post-war. Through the fast food evolution in the mid-20th century, pizza evolved to unique creations around the US and even the world. Some examples of this would be Chicago deep dish pizza, which was invented in the 1940s. It is a cultivation of deep layers, like lots of cheese, chunky tomato sauce, and New York style pizza, which is more of a big, thin crust that usually people eat folded, and even kebab pizza in Sweden, which was made in the 1970s. It is a thin marinated kebab meat with vegetables like onions and tomatoes, and even a cheese and yogurt based sauce. So I really hope you enjoyed learning about the history of pizza. Pizza has evolutionized to many different things where we can all enjoy the beautiful culture that was brought from Italy. Thank you. And these are my references.